meaning that emotions are energies too. And emotions are kind of meant to be energies, or it meant to be like temporary energies.
And they're meant to be just information.
Yeah, they're meant to flow through our system and yeah, and give us feedback.
And so if that's the intention, or that's what we could use emotions for, but our pattern or our tendency is to avoid those emotions, which means we avoid the information.
Yeah, we also interpret them.
Yeah, that's the other side of it. Yeah. If you don't avoid them, then you look at them, you examine them, you name them. That's what I think that's the greatest gift we can share with our children, is have them feel the emotion and name it and see the pattern they're in.
They're also felt subjectively, which means that they for example, there's not just one sad. There's your sad, because it's your interpretation of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's different sides of it. There's both sides. And example is working with my son, where he was giving a gift to his girlfriend first time. It was for her birthday or something. And then there just recently he asked her to formal. And we're on the way to school, and it's that day, and it asked her, like, well, what are you feeling? And it was like, it was stumbling through them. It was, it's like anxious, nervous.
He wasn't very sure of himself.
Wasn't. It's like, well, we don't,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, could that also be excited? He said, sure. And then we just explored, well, what are you nervous about? Oh, she says no. Okay. Or she doesn't take it. Okay. Like being rejected. And, it's like, okay, if she rejects you, then what? See, that's the problem. We just get stuck at that emotion without opening up and exploring it. Little, but it's huge practice, because when we begin to do that for everything, we don't get trapped, we don't get limited, we don't build the patterns. And I'll call them the dysfunctional patterns. That's how they appear to me anyway. Because the ones that don't feel good, we want to avoid. We want to get out of them, away from them.
But what makes them not feel good?
Our story.
Yeah, exactly.
What we've attached to it. A wounding, a fear. That's usually what I find at the end of it anyway, Craig. At the end of it, it appears to be our sabotaging identities, which is just a pattern. So it becomes an automatic that we always see. We just don't name them.
Well, there's just an interpretation in there too.
No, without a doubt.
It
Yeah,
kind of
it's
creates a
only,
story,
it is, yeah.
like an
Yeah,
association that this sensation in my body equals this.
yep. This is what it means. Yep.
A lot of times that's not very accurate.
Well, it's not at all. It was created from the environment of a child that was just learning to speak, to talk, to use the words. So no, not accurate at all, because we don't have enough understanding of the whole situation. All we know is our world, which isn't very big when we're just learning to speak or to understand words. You think of it, it is quite small. But the feelings, right, the emotions, they've been there the whole time. Now we're just trying to match words to it. And if that situation, quote, hurts me, like from a feeling standpoint, we're going to make up a story why we're hurt so that we don't get there again. And then we cope with it. And I mean,
So what about all the pre-verbal stuff?
I don't know what happens before that. Those are just patterns too. I don't know. I don't have a, all I can think about is what happens like in the, because I think that's what's framing it, right? We're seeing the outcomes of it. Because the only thing that matters, Craig, is the stories we attach to them. That I think. And that we're free to create all sorts of stories. There's a whole unlimited universe of stories to attach to our emotions, yet we picked that one. And most people just continue to live and dig a hole in that one story without seeing that there was multiple other ones.
Yeah, I think we're pretty accurate as children in the nonverbal area with the patterns we pick up is how that translates into words.
I do agree.
That's the patterning part.
Yep.
Because like you say, it becomes a story.
A story that we latch onto.
Yeah.
Like
We take as our own.
Yeah, it's like we take it as it is the truth. Little t truth. And then as we see the situation play again, oh, there it is again. The only thing, like there's that feeling, and the thing that gives me like relief from it is the action. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. And yeah.
Yeah, this whole thing in process is really fascinating to me. It's about how intimacy with ourselves is developed.
Great. Yeah. And then the reflection, right, is to look at, oh, what's playing?
Yeah.
And the story's not always obvious. I mean, my majority sabotage and identity was I was never good enough. I can just see, like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that growing up, right? But as I reflect back with that identity, I can say it's not like I ever told myself that, but it was always what I was doing was to prove that I was better. I was just always trying to prove. And as I reflect back, I can see like there's places that it's like, oh yeah, that was a majority of the time. And then even further, like earlier than that, we can say, well, we want to belong to our family. So, and we want to be loved. So I must have created that pattern to have that, to belong and to love. And it's like, well, what child would have to do that? I mean, from a parent's point of view, there's nothing a child can do, meaning they don't have to. And I'm sure some parents are different, right, where they need to. And I mean, you go to any soccer weekend and you can see the parent that does.
Yeah, when you think about it, what's being energetically transmitted there?
I mean, one of the best examples that I've heard was, let's say I drew a picture for when my dad gets home, and he blows it off, right? I don't get the response I wanted. It's not like I mean, as a child, we don't know all the shit that's going on in their lives, in our parents' lives. Yet I take it as something about my drawing, about who I am. I mean, and how many times have we done that where we were somewhere else when we came home to our children? There was some other issue on our mind. You can think of how many times that happens. It only takes once. I mean, not once, but it's like we're all in patterns, so all the patterns feed each other. Fascinating. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, and the thing is too, we also, as children, we kind of assume that we're wrong.
Yeah.
If there's a miscue or whatever,
Yes,
it's like, how could I be right?
that's right. But look, we don't really, as long as things are good, we don't look at them really, right? We just flow with it. That's why like negative and trauma effects are so much larger. And I mean, it's that fear of being kicked out of the family, of not belonging. It's such a we know that as an instinct, right? Way down deep that if we're not part of a of a group, we're gonna die alone, right? We're not gonna make it. So it's so much part of our survival. I mean, that's what a child, like I think we like pre-verbal, Craig. That's what we know. And why else would we cry and then stop crying when we're comforted?
And it gets all bollocksed up when the feedback is all muddied up, right?
Mhm. And so back to intimacy with ourselves. But there's no, like, there, man.
Like if you're getting black and white feedback from your parent, then your whole intimacy thing is going to be out of whack because it's inconsistent. Feedback is inconsistent.
Yeah, it always is inconsistent.
Yeah, but it
And
doesn't have to.
we're just trying to make sense of it. And makes, what are we making sense of is the structure that's there, like the invisible structure. And black and white means it's like this way or that way, which means yes, we say we latch on to it. And no, it doesn't have to be that way. And the only way that it doesn't, like that, uh, like I don't know how to, I don't know how you keep it from happening. What I would say is the best thing that we can do is with our children is to work with the emotions of it, right? To read the energies and clean up the stories that are there and make sure that our children are putting powerful stories in there, not powerless to the situation. Not that the things out there is what is affecting in here, not that way, the other way. I mean, it's the same thing we're doing as an adult, just trying to just have them do it closer to their truth, their genius, the innocence. Because the farther we get away from that, the harder our patterns get. It's like, why do I use harder? The harder the patterns get. Because I think it's a barrier around our heart that we put up. It is a hard wall that goes around the heart to protect it from hurt.
Guys, it's 10 o'clock here, so I'm going to jump off.
Good night, Allie.
You just have a really
Thanks
great
for
day.
reflection.
I'm so grateful for you guys.
Thank you for your introduction today, dear.
Have a great day, guys. Big love.
Good night.
Okay, yeah, you too. Sleep well. Yeah, and all those experiences can really destroy intimacy.
And it can definitely get in the way. I think that's the hardening, right? Because the intimacy is with our hearts.
Yeah, as Brene Brown calls it, armor up.
Yep. The hardening of the heart. Well, gentlemen, I've got to get ready this morning.
Have a blessed day then.
You guys want me to leave it open? Or you guys complete?
I don't know, Heinz, what do you think?
What do you want to talk about, Craig?
What's that?
What do you like to talk about? Anything on your heart?
Explore this some more.
We can do that.
Thank you, guys. I gave you host, Craig. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Have a
All
great
right.
day, Jesse.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk
Love and
later.
hugs.
Thanks.
Have a nice day, Jesse.
Bye, Heinz.
Bye. Kids pick up on stuff extremely easy, especially young kids. Ask the parents, why are you sad?
Yeah, to me, all this stuff gets established when we're extremely young and pre-verbal.
Some reason they know.
I never had a parent explore my emotions with me. And I didn't know to do that either with my kids.
I didn't get the chance to do it with my kids.
So it's
They're
kind
all,
of, that kind of fascinates me too. That whole
they're all
bit about, you know, missing part of the experience with your kids.
yeah, kids can teach us a lot of stuff about ourselves.
Oh yeah. That's why it's been really fun being in this group with Pascal. His son Kai was born, I think it was March 2nd, something like that. And so he's been trying out a lot of this stuff that we've been talking about.
Yep.
You know, and learning to work with his son energetically above everything else, which is really, really cool.
I think that's why the next new generation are so high frequency, because their parents
Yep.
are talking to them in a higher frequency, teaching them higher frequency when they're born.
Yeah.
And it's allowed now.
One thing I did know to do when I was raising my kids is to treat them as like adults, like speak to them as if they were adults, as if they were, you know what I mean, as if they were sentient, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm really glad about that. I mean, that's basically how my parents, especially my dad, treated me. In fact, I remember him giving me the lecture before I went to a booze party. And the interesting thing was I was always way underage because I was out of high school when I was 16. And you know, and he said, I'll trust you and treat you as an adult until you give me reason not to.
Wow.
Which is like, oh wow. And he did. He lived up to that. He lived up to that statement.
That's how you show trust.
Yeah.
Trust them until they haven't earned your trust anymore.
Yeah. And then I found out about 35 years after he died that he's the same energy type as me. So that really spoke to me. In fact, he was a very good model for that kind of energy type.
So have you had snow yet?
What's that?
Have you had snow in Oregon yet? Or
Oh yeah,
snow
I just mentioned we had a huge ice storm here last
ice?
weekend. Yeah. I had over a half an inch of ice all over my car.
Whoa.
I couldn't get into it for 2 days. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was last weekend.
I don't think we get much of those ice storms, but we do get very cold weather. But I think it's because we are surrounded by ocean. There's only, if you're in the center of Denmark, there will be 52.3 kilometers to either side to the ocean.
Yeah.
So too much salt in the weather for ice storms, but what was it? 2 weeks ago or a week ago, we had -15. Whew.
Wow.
Siberian cold came down. That's the difference between us having northeastern winds, which aren't that often anymore, compared to having northwestern from Greenland. It has to travel over the ocean, so it gets.
That really feels cold when you're on the ocean. Or
Yep.
close to the ocean, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thankfully it doesn't hardly ever gets that cold here.
Oh, it's was a rarity in Denmark. I don't think it's been that cold in 10, 15 years. And was just a short one. Luckily, now we're back to about 0. So it's slush coming down. But in one day we had about, some places they got 70, 80 centimeters of snow. Good morning, Alison.
Good morning and good afternoon, everybody.
Welcome to Intimate Reflection. I think, wasn't it reflection that Ali had? It's been
Intimate reflection. That's a nice theme.
Yeah, Jesse's word was intimate and Alice was reflection.
We should do that for each other in an intimate relationship.
And like Craig and Jesse said, it starts with oneself.
Mm-hmm.
So being intimate and vulnerable with oneself.
And I was also thinking about how different parts reflect back and forth in between each other.
Mm-hmm. So have you had a good night's sleep?
I did. Thank you. Did you?
Oh, I'm lying in bed now again because I'm freezing about my toes.
Oh, what's the temperature there?
Oh, just below 0 or above. It's right around freezing point, but for some reason I don't turn up the heat in my apartment, and sometimes I don't realize how cold my feet are getting.
Yeah. It's when you want nice warm wool sock.
I think the thicker I put on the feet, they do get hot, but then I start to sweat, and then it gets even colder. So I wear thin tennis socks, easier to heat up, don't get wet.
Yeah.
I have tried putting on some nice toasty socks, but they just turn out wet. So stop that again. But I think it's normal when you have a wooden floor without carpets on that they get colder than the rest of the apartment.
Yeah, but wood floors are the best.
What's
Hey, you
the
guys, I
temperature
gotta
over
go. I got a bit of an emergency here.
here? Okay. Have a pleasant day, Craig.
Do you want to stay with it?
Hmm.
Has
I can
Jesse left?
stay. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jesse had
Jesse's
something
left
he had to
already.
do.
Okay.
Just say bye for the day.
What did you get from the silence today, Hans?
Oh, it wasn't as much silence as we normally did, and I like the first word, one of the first words that Ellie said, magical.
Hmm.
Great
Magical
word.
reflection.
No, she said, Craig asked, we said good morning, and she said good evening, and then Craig asked, how's the day gonna be since you already had gone through it?
Mm.
He said, oh, it's going to be a magical day. That just really reflected with me, that word magical.
It's wonderful. Our days are magical.
Yeah, especially if you look at them with a different perspective.
Exactly. You're just open to everything that there is, right?
Yep. There's magic in everything. It's just that we've been thought, oh, it's just doing that because of that. It's doing that because that. And they take the magic away. But if you don't look at the scientific reasons why things are like they are, it puts the magic back into it. Like the
Yes.
radio.
So that's the difference between pulling things apart and 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 analyzing them through your senses mostly, which includes logic. And on the other side of that is just experiencing them. And when you experience it without trying to analyze it, that's when you receive the magic.
Yeah. Like when they say that the sun god drew the sun across the sky. Much more magical than the earth is turning.
Mm. But the earth turning is completely magical.
Yeah, it never, and it doesn't turn the same way. It's always on
No,
a different. People say it goes around. No, it goes in an ellipse and it goes up and down in that ellipse. So for it
yeah,
to be in the exact same spot is very rare. It's not a yearly thing that you are in exactly the same spot.
correct.
Because that would mean the moon would have to be in exactly the same spot. Everything had to push pull have to be the same. So the universe is magical.
Totally. We lose sight of that.
Yeah, like they say, the sun is just some burning gas. Well, I think it's way more than that.
Mm,
Because if gas would just burn, it would say boom. It has to be something that holds it together.
correct. And you think of the size of it compared to the Earth.
I didn't know it was 1.2 million times the size of the Earth.
Is it?
Whoa.
Is it that much bigger?
Yep.
1.2 million.
Yep.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I thought it was about 1,000 or maybe 10,000, but 1.2
Yeah.
million times. Whoa. And it's one of the
Uh,
smallest in the universe. That
Good
just
God.
shows us how small we actually are.
Yes. And we take ourselves so seriously, hey, Hans?
Yep.
Mm.
We are the intelligence of the universe. Good one. It's wishful thinking.
Exactly.
But who would say, no, we're the stupid part of the universe? What?
Yeah. We are so stupid.
Yep. We are very wasteful.
Yes.
Like we waste
Totally.
energy.
And we waste life.
Yeah.
And I needed this reminder this morning. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think it came in what, the 70s, 80s. They suddenly made buy, use, discard.
Yeah.
Buy new. That was when it started, the consumer time. Consumption.
You know, there's an amazing documentary, and the name of it isn't coming to me now, but I hope it does, and I'm sure it will. If it doesn't this morning, it will come to me later today. A friend of mine referred me to it, and oh, this is what it is called, Hans, and you can find it on YouTube. It's called The Century of the Self.
The century.
Yeah, of the
Okay.
self.
Mm.
You would really enjoy this. And it is the story of consumerism. And it's how after World War One, so you know Sigmund Freud, right? He had a nephew that he hated. His, his, and his nephew was he was a okay, so how can I he was a marketing guy, but I think during the war also he was very involved with propaganda. I could be wrong about that. But when the war was over, they realized they can't use the word propaganda because everybody had caught on. So for companies, they started to use the word public relations.
Mm.
And that is where advertising really got hold. And there's very little difference between advertising and propaganda when you really come to think about it. And he, he really pushed hard for corporations to go for the style of marketing that, just developed into what it is today, in terms of appealing to people's emotions and appealing to their need to be better or have more. And it was the perfect timing for it after the war, right?
Yeah.
So the whole documentary is about the development of individualism and of consumerism. It's really interesting and well done. If you've struggled to find it, let me know and I'll find the link for you. I think I've got it bookmarked on my computer.
Yeah, not much should be called The Sanctuary.
No. No.
There's only so much about the self on YouTube.
That's true.
It's something they don't really want us to know.
No. But it's very interesting to me, how American culture got globalized through the economic structure of capitalism.
Yeah. I remember when we were young, this is not like the US, but now it's
Everything is
compared.
like it.
Yeah. Even though we don't have the right to bear arms or anything, there are a lot of
Thank
of
God.
it still. Yep. I say thank God for that too. Yeah, I could just imagine how it would have become here.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, I can understand how how it took hold, but
It's an old
yeah,
law where people just got used to it. It's what the 1776 when they made the US, they said
yeah,
we need the right to bear arms, but I would say they should have let that say in the 1900s, maybe said, well, it's time to remove that law.
yes.
And I don't understand why people actually want it now, the right to bear
I
arms. Well, I need to
know.
protect myself. So protection is killing somebody else. I don't see it like that.
Yeah. No, it's really bad. But I think it's gone past a tipping point now.
People had enough.
No, it's just you can't stop it now.
Oh, that way.
Yeah, there are too many guns. They'll
Yeah,
never.
I heard a German person actually made something that could have made a big change, where you needed to, if you had the gun, you needed to have the right watch on, or else it would just say click, 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 click. It wouldn't fire. But then people said, no, we want the right to be able to pick up any arms.
I know.
So they actually destroyed him. And I would say that's a great thing for cops, military, and everything. Then you can't use somebody else's gun.
Yes.
You won't have the accident with children picking up a gun and
I
firing.
know. It's so terrible. I mean, the amount of injuries that they are with guns is it's yeah, it's real madness.
Yeah.
And the fact that the type of guns that they're allowed also, automatic rifle, automatics, like why does a citizen need to be able to have a gun that can shoot 3 or 4 rounds in one go?
Yeah.
It's
I
insane.
remember a long time ago, one of my friend's big brother had been in Thailand or something, and then he sent a picture, or he's giving him the picture when he got home, and you see a bazooka in a case. Then it says, "For self-protection only." What do you protect yourself against with a bazooka? It's for armory.
Exactly, Hans. No, totally.
It's like
Yeah, it's so complex.
when the Ukrainians, I think it was last year, they said, "Send more weapons so we can have peace." What?
Mm.
Doesn't matter.
But what do you do when you're in that situation? You know, like you can't have peace with somebody like Putin. You just can't.
I think it's like those Russian soldiers who actually
Mm.
just turned around. It needs to be at ground level. They make a choice.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't have war without an army.
No, you can't.
So again, it comes down to the little person who needs to make the right choice now.
Yeah.
But thinking about it, I think he sort of contracted maybe syphilis or something, and it's gone to his brain.
Who?
Everything was better in the 70s and 80s when we had the Soviet Union. Well, either he's getting dementia or he's having some sort of brain disease. That's,
You think Putin?
yep. I think, why else would he say everything was better back then?
That's interesting.
It's just an idea,
but I do think he's very disturbed, Hans. I really do think that, and I don't think there's any stopping with a personality like that. I mean, he's a sociopath.
well, I remember watching just before or after you got the new president, when Trump stepped off, and then Trump had seen Putin on TV, and he said, "That's not the person I met a year ago." And I would say Trump should be able to recognize a person.
Yeah, but I don't believe anything that comes out of Trump's mouth. I'm sorry to say that, but I really don't. And yeah, the States is such a mess. Oh my God. And Canada's
Everywhere.
not, yeah, it is. The world's such a mess at the moment.
Because they've forgotten that they actually work for us. It's not the other way around. They think we are working for them.
Yeah, but I think we've also forgotten that, right? When you think about
Yep.
it.
Yep. We think the police doesn't work for us. They work for the government. Yeah. So they work for the government now.
Yeah.
If you encourage something, they'll just do it. That's normal for a human.
Yeah.
To fall into the role that we created for them.
Yeah.
That's why we also fall into roles other people create for us.
Yes, we do.
That identification with something that actually isn't ours.
Mm. Mm. That whole thing about identity is so critical.
It's also the same with husband and wife. If you ask the husband, well, she's my wife, and what do you expect from her being a wife? And he has some expectation to her that she didn't even know, just because the word wife is involved.
Exactly.
So unless people talk together and work it out, there's always going to be big, what's it called? not different. It is like difference between them because nobody
Yeah,
knows what another people think. No one.
yeah,
And you can almost get executed for speaking what's on your mind. Well, they don't want to hear that.
yeah.
So it's a twin-edged sword.
It is.
That's why
And
it's
I mean,
called
you
working.
think about, if you think about it, you think how much anger can be built up between two people. And then you think about a war, right?
Yeah, and like T always tells me, the first one to suffer in war is the truth.
Yes,
And as long as they keep lying up, you'll believe them because you don't hear it from the other side.
that's right.
And I can't imagine that the people actually want war.
I know people don't want war. I mean, it's so terrible.
It's a conflict between the top persons. So why don't they go walk in an MMA cage and settle it?
I know that. I mean, at least in the, you know,
At least join the front
way
line.
way back when the kings actually were, at least they were on the battlefield.
The king would ride in front of everyone
Yeah.
because, like they said, the king don't want to step on any of his subjects. And when he was in front, the second line could, if he fell, could surround him and take him back,
Mm,
leading by good example.
exactly. And we thought they were barbaric.
No, they were true leaders.
Yeah, well, no, it's the other way around. We're barbaric now, I think.
We made it also unpersonal.
Yeah,
Oh, it had nothing to do with me.
it's
Shift
so
of blame.
that's right, because there's no accountability, right?
Yeah, you can just see with soldiers. Well, they are gonna go to the Hague for a human something, and then you say they were just following an order. Well, then it shouldn't be them. It should be their superior officer who went there. But no,
Mm,
it don't go that way up. He didn't do it. Well, he gave the order to do it.
mm,
If the soldier didn't do it, he would be court-martialed for not following orders. So he's damned if he do, he's damned if he don't.
exactly. But things are going to change a lot, I think, in the next 5 years.
I think the next
A
2 years
lot.
are gonna be an exception.
Mm,
Like they say, 2023 was the awakening, and now it's time for action of all those who's awoken, and a
yeah,
lot have woken up. Everyone I'm talking to are talking about, oh, I need to take care of myself. Wow.
yeah,
But it's time for a change. It's
yeah,
been
it
this
is.
way for what, 5,000 years, ever since the Egypts, about controlling each other instead of working with each other.
Yeah, yeah. It's that whole thing of the experience of scarcity, right?
Yep. And they're just afraid of losing control. Well, I
Mm,
would rather lose control and have a beautiful Earth than destroy the Earth and remain in control until it fell apart. It's sort of a suicidal tendency, I would say.
yeah, I agree with that.
It's working against their higher good. And why would they need They actually say they don't need any more money. They just need us to have less. Huh? Well, the only way we can get less is by them getting more, and they are still raking in whatever they can get. Like I said, when they said we need to make 110 million this year, and we only made 100 million, well, we lost 10 million. No, you made 100. But it's their way of looking at it. They have made a lot.
Yeah.
I don't see it that way. I see it, but it must be real sad to see things that way.
Yes. Very
Very,
stressful.
very unsatisfying life can be.
Mm. Mm.
Only seeing the negative and not enjoying the positive.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder they say they're lonely and stuff like that.
Mm.
Everything is better when it's shared.
Yeah, because it gets amplified, right?
Yeah, and like you would lose because you give away. No, when you give away, you receive also.
That's right.
And money is still just energy as everything else.
Exactly. It's just a measurement.
Yep. It's not like there are just as much gold now as there are money.
Mm.
That was the law in the 80s, but not now. So much money is just air, pure air. And we see how that went with Hitler. Needed 1 million marks for a piece of bread because he printed them out of nothing.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
No, and there's so little thought that gets given to sustainability in our culture.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate the Aboriginal cultures because they talk about, they conceptualize everything in terms of the generations before and the generations still to come.
Yeah, give back to Mother Earth as much as you're taking.
Yeah.
If
And
you're taking
imagine
down,
with everything that we've developed, if we were, to have taken into consideration the impact on 7 generations ahead. We'd be using
just
very different things.
imagine those who go to the rainforest and take down trees. If they just planted new trees when they moved on, just planting, then it would be 20, 30 years, there would be new trees, big trees again.
Oh, no.
But no, they just harvest. It's like they don't want the first 3 cycles.
God,
Everybody just wants.
So much of the Amazon has been destroyed. It is real insanity.
And when they destroy the trees, they mess with the water.
That's right.
Even though one tree drink, what was it, 1,000 liters of water each day, well, outside the other end, it will sweat about 1,000 liters into the air in clouds, and then some trees ask for they needed water with some sort of chemical, and the clouds would move over there and rain down again. So it's a ecosystem. It'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Produces just as much as it uses. But when you move it, you move that link in the cycle.
Mm.
So the trees are more like a cleansing of water.
Yes.
but they
Do you
don't look
live
at it
near?
that way.
Sorry,
What?
Hans. Eh?
They've
You
looked at
don't?
it that way.
Yes. Do you have a forest nearby you?
Oh, a small one, small. I do my daily walk and then I walk up to the park and then walk out of the park and then there is what 500 meters of trees that are 20, 30 meters wide. But as soon as you walk into it, it's a forest. I
I
enjoy
know.
walking through it that each day.
Yeah, it's the
It's,
best.
it's such a calming energy when you get in between,
Completely. Yeah,
more grounded.
yeah,
And just how the animals flourish from watching where they taken away the trees compared to where the trees are growing.
yeah.
It's like a whole different dimension.
Yes, that's my experience too. I love it.
I also love being in nature. Just gives such a within. Everything just settles down and ego actually almost stops.
Yeah, it does.
It don't see smoke, it don't see cars, it don't see anything that it actually want to judge. No
Yeah,
judgment.
yeah. Just
Become way
all.
more become way more positively charged.
Mm-hmm.
And now I lived here almost a year, so I've seen the four seasons there. I've seen it. I moved out here last May last year, and then experienced how the forest became greener and greener. All of a sudden, I couldn't even see out of the 20 meters to each side
Mm.
because it was
Mm.
so full. And now it's just bare trees I can see everywhere. Oh my God,
Yeah,
it isn't any bigger than this, but I still enjoy going there.
yeah. It's a little
So,
magical.
yep, magic to see how the seasons
How,
change.
how did you how did you choose the town that you moved to? What
Oh,
made you move
I,
there?
I actually wanted to move for a while then because I felt like I was living in a mausoleum. I buried my mom, I buried my ex-wife, I buried almost every friend I ever had. And
Oh,
so I decided I wanted to move and I looked for what, 5 months or so. And then I just got this offer and I said, I'll take it. And then I moved, and 2 weeks after I moved, I actually, for the first time in my life, could tell myself I love myself. I sort of
wow.
had to find myself. I found myself in a whole different way when I moved out here. It was like, wow, this is what it is to live for oneself.
That's so interesting. I'm so sorry about all your losses, Hans.
Oh, it's part of life.
I
I know I'm
know,
going that way too.
I
The
know,
worst
but that,
thing in my life the last 2 months is looking at my bird because she's really getting old now. She's just lying
oh,
in the bottom of the cage, and each
oh,
time I go out, I say, "I don't think you're gonna be here when I get home." But all of a sudden, when I get home, she'll start climbing the cage again and do
oh.
something. Go, hey, I'm still here.
What kind of
So
bird is she?
a parrot, I love a bird.
Oh man. Oh,
I've had her for 10 years now.
yeah.
So she's experienced my marriage. She experienced when we got divorced. She experienced when I lost everyone.
Yes.
She's my partner in crime. I can't really imagine life without her, but it's actually more hurtful to see her suffering or
Yeah,
not feeling well. So I tell
yeah.
her each day it's okay to just let go. Of course, I'll be sad but I think I will also be relieved in a way
Yes.
because 2 months ago she could fly, now she don't do anything really.
Yeah.
And it's pretty tough when you've seen a bird fly around the house and all of a sudden
Yeah.
she's having trouble standing on one leg, and so
Yeah.
that's the letting go part. But it has to be her choice. I will not try to grab her and stress her until she don't be. I
Yeah.
want her to do it natural way. Let
Yeah.
nature take its. And I sometimes think she's actually just here for my sake now. That it's way more than just. She could actually just let go, but for some reason she don't. Maybe she
Yeah.
stands out.
I know animals are amazing. They're so accurate with what they sense on a level, you know. They sense things that we're not aware of.
Yep. And they make every day magical.
They do.
Just getting in there and saying good morning. It's like having a child to talk with, even though she can't talk, but she sure knows what she wants. I'll hear. I understand why it's called tweet, to tweet to others. I bet he had a lover bird. Tweet, tweet. He says that each time she wants something from me. Tweet. Oh, I just got a message. Oh, she heard me saying tweet, tweet. Now she's moving around.
Shame.
What message did you want to send? Are you talking about me? Huh?
So
But I
Heinz,
will. Yep.
were you were talking about your son, and so was your ex-wife your son's mum?
Yep. We have two. We had two children, but we never got to raise them ourselves.
Okay.
The system took them when they were born.
Ugh.
So one lived in Norway and another in Denmark. Even though I knew we would have probably have been great parents, but I think it's a life plan I've actually chosen so I could get to here to actually work with myself.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of time on my hands to just work with me. It's probably why
Yeah.
I am so present, because I don't think about what I've lost. I think about
Where
they're
you are.
happy. And, yeah, and I'm present with whatever I'm doing. When my son writes, I just ask him, "Are you okay?" Yep. Then I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sort of the few things that brings me out of prison. It's when something comes about my children,
Yeah.
or he's not actually a child anymore. She'll turn 20 in 6 days.
Yeah. I know, but they do. As a parent, our attachment remains to them, you know?
Yep. I still remember her lying in both my hands and not being outside of them. And now she's a woman,
Yeah.
a young woman, but a woman still.
So is she
And
in Norway?
yep, she got adopted because I heard how
Mm.
they want to go for a forceful adoption, but then we heard how their psychologists have talked to our child, and we just said, forget about the forceful. It will be a willingly adoption. You're never going to talk to our daughter again.
Good.
I will not have my children suffer because of me. I fought for my son until he was 11, and then they made the court decide that we weren't allowed to fight anymore because they knew when he turned 12, he could get his own attorney. And that attorney would have to read every law paper they ever made, and it was just one big lie. So
Oh,
they couldn't have that happen. So they just made it by law that we weren't allowed to fight anymore. But I think it was a good thing because it was about then I learned to let go and be more present, not
yeah.
thinking about the future or the past, just being me.
Yeah.
So I think I actually had to go through all that to get to where I am now. Like I
Yeah,
say,
that's a really good attitude to have.
it's just an experience. Some are good, some
Yes,
are bad.
exactly.
It's
Well,
like a
some are
movie.
easy and others are difficult, right?
Yeah, it's like a movie. You can't just start at the middle of it or at the end. You won't get much out of it.
Yes.
But many people are so stuck in their past. I can't imagine my past hurting me. But
Mm.
if the ego keeps drawing you back, well, then you're fighting something. You need to learn it. Like she said, it's like a wild horse, the ego. You need to
Yes,
learn how to
exactly.
make it calm
Yeah.
instead of
They,
working against you, work for you.
yeah, they use that in analogy in a lot of different Eastern teachings, about,
I think he got it from the Indians, actually.
yeah,
They also saw it as a wild horse.
that's
Your
right.
thought
And
being calm, you could actually ride among wild horses without
yeah,
them being spooked because you were way too natural.
yeah. There was enough resonance, right?
Yep, you were one with the elements. So they didn't see you as a threat.
Yeah.
And they rode barebacked without having leashes on their horses and everything. So, of course, the horses would feel much more comfortable like that than with saddles and everything.
Yeah. Horses are such incredible animals.
Yep. I think all animals are actually incredible.
They are absolutely.
If you treat them with love, they will repay you 1,000 times over.
Yeah, they do.
I've seen a lot with squirrels. Oh my God, they're amazing. One who had nuts out, and after it had taken some nuts, it came back with a. It wasn't a piece of. It was like a capsule or something that it actually laid up on her porch and dragged it up, and she didn't know where the heck did this come from. Then she checked her camera and saw that little squirrel picking it up and drawing it back for sort of like a thank you. Or somebody who had some sort of crow type. I don't know which one. He had fed it and everything. Each day it came to him with money.
Oh,
When it
wow.
lost money, it would pick him up and then fly up and give it to him. He had a whole drawer filled with notes. Oh my God, is it stealing or something? Nope. He said he had been looking out the window and saw whenever it saw something, poof, it rushed down and picked it up and came back up to him.
That's hilarious. God.
Some come with rocks. They come with whatever they think. Wow, this is nice. He must think it's nice. And I saw crows could be like what a 7-year-old child, just way more uh, observant.
Mm.
And they say birds and stuff don't have intelligence. Oh my God, I saw how intelligent they were. Oh, they can make tools and they can even connect tools to make longer and stuff. It's not even primates were able to do what a crow could do.
No, yeah, birds have got a lot of intelligence. Hi, Mona. It's just Hans and I talking away.
That's
So
okay.
wonderful to have you.
I've been
How are you?
listening.
You
Oh,
have?
you've been listening?
Yeah. And
It's good to have you.
I like the title of today's session too.
Yes. I only came on when just about everybody was gone
Oh,
and
it's
Heinz
only
was
been,
left.
it was only me, Jesse, Craig, and Ellie to start with. So it's been, we are almost at maximum again.
How's your
But it
morning
is,
been, Mona?
It's been excellent. Uh,
Oh, good.
you were talking, the title of this is Patterns, and I got to sit down and write my daughter a letter about family patterns because she's going down a bad path.
oof.
I'm going to
Oh,
take a break for a second.
sure. Patterns.
Oh, now my bird is tweeting. I'll just
It,
be 2 seconds.
sure.
Gotta see what the stars want.
I could hear her 3 times.
Just like a child. Look, look.
Oh, sweet man. She wants to be part of the conversation.
Always.
Oh, man.
It's the same with
My,
children.
yes. Hence, when my daughter was little, she was at a Montessori school, and the woman that ran the school, she was amazing. She had this little gathering of animals for the kids on her property, and she also hand raised parrots. So
Whoa.
that I know, so the children had opportunity, to feed the baby parrots. And it was such an incredible experience. I was so grateful that I could have her in an environment like that.
Parrots are amazing.
Yeah,
Birds.
they really are amazing birds.
A lot of people don't know what they're getting into. I just want a bird. I don't want one who looks good and one who's big. Well, you got 30 to 50 years to take care of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And unlike a dog you need to walk twice a day, feed and everything. Parrots actually need 3 to 4 hours of conversation each day. It's a different kind of responsibility.
Yes, it is. Oh, they're incredible, when they start growing up and they they sit on your shoulder, and in the way in which they snuggle into your neck. It's such an amazing experience.
They actually know what they want. I follow a lot on Facebook, like cockatoos. Some of them,
Yeah.
I see people have had them in cages 22, 23 years, so they can't fly and they're very shy. 3 months
Oh,
of love, and you just see how they flourish. And they got personality. Oh my God. I see one walking around just like the dog. Postman actually said, "Oh my God, you got dog in there." No, it's just the cockatoo. And he looked, and it actually went over and climbed up his leg, and he said, "You're a good watch."
it's amazing. My brother had a cockatoo, and he used to curse like anything.
Wonder where it got it from, because they don't just learn it by themselves.
No. Excuse me.
Oh, it happens when we laugh too much. we get air into the wrong part of the lungs, and then
Mm.
but it's so healthy.
Mm.
Was it the brother who oh, I don't want to read anymore. My life is way more interesting than any book.
Yes, it was.
I
You're
remember
quite
that.
right. That's a good memory because I had 3 brothers. Well, I have, thank goodness. And they're still there.
I had two, but now I have one, and I have 2 sisters.
Gosh, Hans.
Yeah, a lot of death in my family.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm at work, so I have to mute you guys a little bit sometimes.
That's
So,
okay,
Katrina,
Mona. So you're thinking about your letter to your daughter.
I think she left again.
Mm.
I'm still here. I'm listening.
Oh,
No, my daughter is making some same choices that I did that were not healthy for me and they're not healthy for her. And she's disrupting a family unit
Mm.
with those choices. And she's going to create a lot of hurt for herself.
And so it's going to, so the letter is a sharing of your experience and how you see she's following in those
My
same
path.
patterns.
Yeah. So I'm going to sit down and write her a letter and just talk to her and tell her, hey, I've been through the same stuff you've been through. And this is how it's affected me, and it's not been positive.
Yeah. That's a great sharing, Mona. That's a really good sharing. Because even if she can't hear it now, she'll hear it over time, you know? That's
I agree
amazing
with
that you
that.
can see that. Sorry. Mm. It's interesting when you think about patterns. Hey, Hans and I were just talking about how the social world works with humans. And there's so many patterns in cultures, you know, and it's time that they all get reviewed, I think, especially Western culture in my view. Which I think is very much driven by our economic structures, patterns as well.
Not only do I see a pattern with her and I see the pattern all that comes down all the way through my mom's mom.
Mm. That's so often the case, though, Mona, right?
Yeah, and it comes down through her mom too, because I ran across a story that my grandma started writing,
Yeah.
and it talked about when she was a little kid and the things that she
Wow.
went through up to a certain age. So I see the family pattern.
That's an amazing thing to share with your daughter.
I wrote a book around it, actually. I don't think it's a real good book, but I wrote one.
Yeah, but that's all that matters, you know. When we do that for our families, uh, it makes a massive impact. Makes me think of Sandrell's uncle that wrote. He wrote his life story for his grandson. Or no, what was it, Heinz? He wrote
500 manifests about his whole life.
yes, and about how his son must take care of everything after he's gone.
So
Right?
it was to his grandson.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
he's
putting a
showing
lot on a kid.
family patterns also.
No, but this grandson was an adult, Mona.
That's
Yep.
still a lot to put on somebody else, though.
No, but it really was so that there wouldn't be any question about, first of all, you know, about that very present stuff about his grandfather's estate. So I think it, you know, that was a big part of it. Um, I mean, from what St. Giles said, it was nothing like his grandson was over the moon about it. He found everything really useful, you know. So I don't think it was,
He didn't feel like it was a burden then.
no, not at all. No, not at all. He felt the opposite, that it was very helpful to him. And he was kind of man that was like that all throughout his life, was always available to people. He sounded like a really amazing person.
And I think it's great you taking your time to write a book, Mona. It just shows that you
Yeah,
care.
absolutely.
How many don't think I should have written this down so someone could learn from it?
Mm. Mm.
And it don't have to be great as long as it's honest.
Yeah, I wrote it in third person.
Mm.
That's a good idea.
As an
Especially,
observer.
yeah, especially when there's that tension with the other person that you're writing to, right?
Yeah,
No, that's a great job, Mona. Well done.
thank you.
You're welcome.
You guys sound good today.
We've had fun, Heinz and
It sounds like it.
we landed. We and when you came in, we were talking about his wonderful bird that he's had for 10 years, and she's not functioning anymore in the way that she used to. So
She
it
actually
looks
just
like,
she
sorry, Heinz said.
actually just climbed up the cage. I was wondering if she was going to do it today, but she actually just did it.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's because it's way easier to talk when she's sitting eye level.
Oh, sweet. Hmm.
But you're doing the right thing, Mona, by wanting to write your daughter a letter, because it's way easier to write it, because then you don't have to hear her answer right away. She has to read everything before she actually defends herself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the thing is, it's not going to be a you letter. It's going to be an I letter.
that's right. That's what I heard too. Yeah. It's a real sharing, Mona, you know.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It, it relates to the words today, reflection. She can reflect herself in your experience.
Very good, Hans.
And it also have a certain amount of intimacy over.
Yes.
And it's nice that I got the benefit of a story that my grandma wrote, and I was the person that got to see it
Yes.
because it was just in a stack of notebooks that nobody thought was any good.
Gosh, isn't that interesting, hey?
Yeah. But it helped me a lot to understand my family semantics.
Yeah. When did you find it, Mona?
A few years ago, 3-4 years ago, I guess.
Okay.
And she wrote it from her perspective of what was happening in her life as a young kid, all the way to the age of like 8 is as far as she got.
That's amazing to find something like that.
So even after her death, she's still helping me out.
Yes. Yeah.
Looking after you. I have a feeling she wrote it so you could actually find it when you needed it.
I don't know. I just know that all her stuff didn't get thrown away, and I'm glad.
Yeah, that is so good.
Alcohol and family patterns from dysfunctional families has been in our family for a long time.
Mm.
My great great grandma, my grandma, my mom, my dad. Yeah.
Mm.
Now me and now my kid.
Well, I think it started to, how can I say this? The undoing of it started with your growth, right?
I would like to think so.
Mm.
And the imprint started when we were children.
Yeah.
We watched our parents do it, so it became normal.
Yeah.
You can leave the alcohol and the drugs behind, but you can't leave the patterns of behavior behind that you get. Trying to navigate those things in a family.
And so when you think about it, Mona, those patterns all revolve, sorry, around the experience of scarcity. And they also include avoidance, right?
And the thing is, when you're about 30 or 40 years old, the patterns start showing up.
Yeah.
Even if you try to get away from them, there's a certain age where people start realizing something's very wrong.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to step off of here for now. This has been
Have
an
it.
emotional share for me.
Yes. Thank
Have
And
a
you
it's
for
good
highly
day.
sharing.
charged. Thank you. Thank you
You're
for
so
being here.
welcome. Thank you, Mona.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Heinz. Thanks, Allison.
Bless you, honey.
Thank you. Bless you too. Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Are you still warming your feet, Heinz, or did you get up for your bird?
I got up for her and took the charger with me in to sit with her because the high frequency calms her down.
Good.
He likes to listen in. I normally sit in here until it says low battery, but it said low battery early today. So I think she's a little annoyed with me that, hey, I didn't get to hear all of it.
Oh.
They have their routines also. It's normally when I talk in the phone or I have meetings, she'll start tweeting. But the rest of the day, oh, I'll come and I'll say hi, and she'll just lie there and, well, you woke me up for this.
Oh, shame.
It's not easy getting old.
No, it
She is an old
really
lady.
isn't. Yeah. It's really not easy.
Everything they took for granted is suddenly gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've always
I
let her be a wild bird. So she doesn't even come to my hand or anything. She's really afraid of my hand.
oh shame.
I wanted her to be a wild bird. She had her partners, but she's outlived 2 partners now. So
Really?
yeah, the first one unfortunately, me and my wife stressed her. And the second one, I think he was born ill or something. He only lived 5 years or so.
Shame.
He had epilepsy.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's not funny seeing a bird lying and shaking.
Yeah, no.
So I picked him up a lot. So I think that's why she doesn't like hands, because she don't like being picked up. But 2 months ago, when she was out flying, I saw that each day she would go down. She didn't have the power, and I had to pick her up. So I haven't opened the cage for 2 months. So because she don't like being picked up, it's sort of a win-win for both. But I don't like seeing her fall down. But I enjoy each moment she gives. Sometimes she even lets me just sit and caress her beak. Just sits there and looks at me, and then I'll get the evil eye, and then I know in 3, 2, 1, haps, she's gonna bite me. Not very hard, but she's looking for the soft points surrounding the, what's it called, on top of the finger nail.
Yeah.
She's wanna bite right in the edge of it. Oh my God! So it's great, but that actually frightened her just as much as it scared me.
Oh, shame.
Like, hey, you weren't supposed to do that.
Shame.
So I just enjoy her company and being her company. Like she's been there for me 10 years. I'm gonna be there for her during her last time, just as much as she's been there for me.
Yes. Yes.
And she's been without a partner now over almost 1.5 years. She's outlived her. Not last year, the year before last, she started limping a little bit. So I said, "Oh, if you last to my birthday, which is in October, I'm happy." Then she went past that. Then I wish you could last until Christmas. And she lasted to Christmas. Then I wish you could last until my next birthday, even though I thought that was far ahead. But she moved with me and we went past my birthday and said, "Oh, if you can last till Christmas, that would be nice. But if you can't, I understand." And now she's still going strong.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But I think it's the love that keeps her.
Mm.
Because the days where I was out visiting other people, I saw how fragile she was. Now I've been home since New Year. I haven't done anything except for doing my daily walk, and then I stay home most of the days. So she can just say treat, and I'm there.
Mm.
I think it's the comfort of knowing
Yes.
animals and everything needs that.
Yeah.
Love is the most powerful thing on earth.
It is, isn't it?
Yep. And animals will show you that. I remember when we had a cat, it would walk away. And I said, why is it walking away? My dad said, it's because it's getting old. He don't want to be a burden, so he don't, like elephants, they walk out of the clan to die. So it's the normal to hide away. But she hasn't been hiding, she hasn't been seen. See me, I'm here.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's normal for birds to hide away.
I've heard that before. I think all animals do.
Oh.
Yeah, when they're feeling ill, when they're ill, their tendency is to hide.
Yeah. Well, she's not hiding at all.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Hans, I'm gonna go. I didn't realize how late it was already, and I've still got ready for things this morning.
You have a blessed Saturday then.
Oh, well, thank you so much for chatting with me. I appreciate it. It was wonderful.
Thank you. It was a great conversation.
Yeah.
We've been a little everywhere from war to animals to
Exactly. We traversed the universe.
Yep.
Okay. You take
Love and
good.
hugs.
Yeah, love and hugs to you too.